Gemma, you're kind of in my line. Sorry, can you move that way? Yeah, perfect. And then, can you move right there, Shauna? All right, so Dylan and I will work side by side. So again, for the mise en place, we got a wet and white dry towel. They're just handy to have. You got some paper. We're going to cut out our parchment circles. I went 2.5 times the recipe, so I'm hoping to yield 2 10-inch cakes. Spatula, balloon whip, you know, the whisk. See, it's got the thin metal. Oy, 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 oy. That's better for aerating. Scissors to cut the parchment. I got a pencil here. Thermometer. Sifter. Bowl set up. My ingredients are here. I'm missing one bowl. I need a bowl. So. Pull up my ingredients. So I need to melt the butter and get one bowl.
You want Dylan to melt his too?
So this.
You want Dylan to melt his butter too?
No, you're not going to use yours. We're going to do one recipe with the butter and then one recipe without. And compare the two. Okay? So this is in preparation for the ACF exam. It's the CPC, which is Certified Pastry Culinarian. And what the test involves is making 3 types of cookies: a rolled cookie, a dropped cookie, and a piped cookie. And then making the genoise cake and a freestanding Bavarian plated. Okay. So that's what we're going to be doing today. The genoise recipe, and you have like 3 hours to do it. The genoise recipe has an optional component of butter, and I like it without the butter, but we're going to do 2 side by side. I'll use the butter, and then Dylan will not use the butter. His recipe is scaled up 2 times. The original recipe yields 2 8-inch rounds. I don't like the 8-inch rounds here. I like to have a 10-inch really for service, or at least 9, because I like to get 12 portions out of the cake, a nice sizable cake, or 16 portions out of the 10. So if Dylan doubled his recipes, he should yield 9, or 2 9-inch. I went 2.5 times, so I'm hoping to yield 2 10-inch. First thing we have to do is cut the circles. Cut the circles for the bottoms of the cake, because you want to line the cake with parchment. So I'm just going to measure here. I've already turned on the oven. So you do the same with yours. And just find the halfway point and circle, you know, just like kindergarten, kind of fun. Circle. And then cut. Really, I could just fold it over and do one. Shouldn't I do that? Yeah, I should do that. So what we're going to do is warm the eggs over the double boiler. I got to review the recipe. This is not one that, it's not, genoise is not one of my favorite cakes, so I don't make it a whole lot. It's kind of, it's a nice technique to learn, but it's not my favorite cake. It's neither super moist or super light. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. I like chiffon and I like yellow, you know, moist cake. But I'm not a big fan of the genoise, so I don't make it a lot. I need a review. I think it's the eggs and the sugar over the heat, just till they reach 110, so it's not super hot. and then you cool them for like 15 minutes on the machine, where it's really they become super light and beautiful. And then you take out part of the batter, fold in the butter if you're using it, and then sift the flour into the other one. And Rianne should remember what happens if you don't sift the flour. It sticks. Well, is that what she said? Sticks?
Like it will come out.
Oh, no. What about remember the white flour lumps that was inside?
Oh, yeah.
So if you don't sift, you end up getting like little lumps all in the cake. So pans are ready. I sprayed underneath. And then on top. So yeah, the eggs and the sugar go in together. So the water is already hot. I've got the whisk here. I want to aerate. I noticed a little spray got in the bowl when I sprayed. If that was egg whites, we couldn't use it. But it's okay. It's not going to hurt this. There's fat already in here, and that's all that is vegetable oil. So, put this in there. Uh-oh, I see a shell. Big one. My goodness. Sometimes you find itty-bitty shells. Believe it or not, they do disintegrate. If it's really small, the big ones you definitely want to... Oh, I see another one. I thought I saw another one. They tend to sink to the bottom, so we'll watch when we pour it off. So the sugar with the eggs, and we're going to cook it to about 110. Sugar. So right now, they're cold. I mean, they're ice cold. I just took them out of the fridge. 110, you know, body temperature is only 98 degrees. With your hands, my hands tend to always be much colder, but they tend to be cooler than body temperature. So if it's 110, that's just slightly warm. So it's only, they're 50 degrees right now. I pulled them out a little early before rolling. So we'll combine those, and now we're going to put them over the heat. Just until they reach 110. It shouldn't take long. So the timing is really important. You know, I think that's the reason, that's more the challenge than the recipes, it's the timing. You have a 3-hour time period to do your exam. So, you know, you have to coordinate your recipes, which is just what you're always doing in the kitchen, whether it's here or there, whatever kitchen that you're in. You're always, you know, trying to time your recipes out. And it's rare that you're just doing one thing. I mean, that's almost never. You know what I mean? Already I'm planning, like when those eggs are whipping, I'm already thinking what else can you do? You know, I mean, you're always working in between different things, but you have to time your recipes out. You know that if your rolled cookie dough needs to rest before you roll it, then you need to give that time to set up in the refrigerator. It's difficult. You can work with it fresh, but it's very difficult to shape. If your Bavarian has to set up with gelatin in the refrigerator, that better get in there first. Really? You know, your cake has to bake. You have to time these things out. I'm going to separate this burner so we each have space. So again, 110 is not that infrared thermometer, which is going to be pretty handy for stuff like this, and also chocolate. And sous vide. We'll talk about sous vide today. Anybody know what sous vide is?
It's when you seal it, put it in the water with the circulating water back.
Yeah. And so Chef Brown recently ordered a packaging kit or something, which is pretty cool. But he's gonna need that infrared one for that too. So stuff like this is super handy. Although real world, you're just gonna feel it. I mean, put your finger in it or touch the bottom of the bowl when it's warm. Basically, it's not always so technical. So you always want to prepare your pans and have your ovens ready before you start. You know what I mean? You don't have the eggs in this case are the leavener, but you know, anytime you're working with a leavened product, you don't want it to set and rest because the leaveners deactivate. The eggs go flat. The baking powder, baking soda, they deactivate. Yeast, on the other hand, needs time. So I'm at like 102 right now. Give it more, like. All right, so off we go. Now look at the difference in color. See how much darker it got? It's kind of cool that the shades of yellow eggs go through. When you cool it, watch how light it's going to become on the sheet. Get this when you whip them raw, they get light, like the peel of a lemon. So now we're just aha! See? There they are. Didn't I tell you?
Oh yeah.
So they always sink. So whenever you pour, if you know you see one in the beginning, pour it off. You'll always find it in the end. Alright, so now we crank this up to number 2 and let it go for like 15 minutes. It's going to be completely cool and it's going to become thick and light like a beautiful pillow. So I could have waited to melt my butter till this started mixing, but I'm going to go ahead and combine the butter and the vanilla. And the flour I'm going to sift directly into the mixture. I want to keep hold of this whip and spatula. And I'm going to go ahead and wash my bowl.